Alright, so basically, me, Lala, and Zalon, accompanied by a couple other people, went to this hip hop on trial debate put on by Google, and basically the tagline was, hip hop doesn't enhance society, it degrades it. I mean, it's up to you whatever you think about the tagline, but that was what the fucking tagline was, so don't argue about me about that shit. So yeah, that's what we went to see yesterday at the Barbican, and hey, that's what went down. I thought it was an interesting talk. Fundamentally for me, it's like, when you start with such a question, it kind of dictates how the whole debate's going to go. And it's getting down to kind of like, how do you define what you're talking about? Because when they're talking about hip-hop, it seems like people are talking about actual rap artists as opposed to the whole spectrum of the culture. You know what I'm saying to you? So for me, that's like a problem when you're not all on the same page, because then you're arguing about this one's arguing about that over there, this one's arguing about this. So it's really like, are we ever coming to a conclusion about anything?
No.
Or are we just throwing opinions out there?
Yeah, I do feel like everybody had their own contentions. You know, they had their own things that they had an issue with, and they just continue to plug on about that. But for me personally, I think there's many aspects about hip-hop that wasn't addressed. I think we were looking at the negative side, but I also think, you know, for me personally, being an artist, there's a lot of inspirational things. You know, when I look at people like Jay-Z, for me personally, that inspires me. That makes me feel, you know what, yeah, it is possible. And that's how I felt growing up. And that's what kept me going through the times when it seemed like it wasn't possible. And I don't think that that was really addressed.
And then us as the actual buyers, it's like, you know, we have to accept individual responsibility for buying into certain forms of hip hop. If you're not happy with that, then don't buy it. But I do understand completely in terms of kind of the corporate side of it, where they only want to kind of select one part of hip hop. I think we can all agree that hip hop isn't one thing. So I think we need to question ourselves, why is it that one thing is the thing that the kind of corporate side of the music business wants to continually push all the time?
Alright, my first highlight of the whole show, I mean, look, there's lots of very intelligent things being said, lots of profound things being spoken about, but for me, it was the humorous parts, because like I like a bit of a joke all the time and shit, and yeah, that's the parts that stood out to me. And it was when PJ Rourke was asked for him to give his opinion, he just straight up just said, first of all, I want to ask, why the fuck am I on this panel? And that just sent the whole fucking room in just an eruption, and it was fucking hilarious. Like, just followed them straight away off the back of that shit, man. So yeah, I'm gonna look into that guy, PJ O'Rourke. Yeah. The strong point for me was that when you're talking about the terminology bitch, I'm like, look, just because you say bitch, it doesn't mean you're calling every single female in the world that they're less than any male. It doesn't have to be a derogatory term as such. And what I mean by that is because, look, language is it's so abstract that I don't think we can even fully comprehend what the full capabilities of language actually entails. And what I'm saying to you is that it's the people that give meaning to the word. So you can't say to me just because bitch means something to you, that necessarily has to mean that for me. Like, I don't fucking agree with that shit.
You know what,
like,
I think it would have been great if Joe Budden or any of the Slaughterhouse member teams would have actually spoke about it. I know he got really annoyed with the guy, and I know he was really annoying, but I feel like that was his time to kind of say, do you know what? I'm not an idiot and I'm not a fool. I know how language works. And
I do think they should have brought some of the rappers who are responsible to speak. Because in a way, you know, I think
they did, but he bucked out.
No, but I mean, they should be at the conference, not on a web chat.
Okay, yeah.
Because I think many people on the panel were people who don't really use that language.
Look, I understand how dangerous the term nigger is. My thing to people is that be aware of your surroundings before you want to throw words around. But I will say that I'm still not down with this whole thing of where like certain words are exclusive to certain races and certain groups of people. Because to me it's like, look, I'm going to use whatever fucking word I want to use whenever I want to use it, as long as I feel I'm not necessarily directly hurting people with it.
That's
but
fine,
what I'm saying is, we've got to overcome these like, because it's almost like you're imprisoning yourself.
Listen to what I'm saying. That's fine, for you to do that. But if you're white, you say that we're the wrong groups of people. That's what I'm saying. You've got to expect certain consequences
that's what I just said.
So if you're prepared to do that, then fine. You say as much as you want. But if you get beat in your face,
I advise people before they go around throwing words around, they should be aware of their surroundings. So what I mean by that is that if you're a white dude,
you're trying to say it in public. I'm saying it in private.
No, I'm not saying say it in private, but I'm just saying understand that there could be consequences to it. But saying that, I'm still not down with this whole idea of words are exclusive to certain groups or certain races or certain fucking cultures. That's what I'm saying, because it's forever this thing of like, we're going to be divided forever. If you can use it, but I can't. If you can use it, I can't. Jewish people can use that and you can't. So what I'm saying to you...
One thing is this, we have issues within the black community with using it ourselves. I think we can all recognise, obviously, the history and where it comes from. And the fact that we use it, we know that, you know, ultimately, we really shouldn't be, but we've turned it into something else.
And the second highlight of the show, again, another fucking funny one, was when this dude tried to explain the terminology in hip hop when people say bitch, and one dude in the audience asked a question, or he was trying to make a statement or give his opinion. And he basically spoke about how his mum called him stinky and he wouldn't like it if other people called him stinky, and then he tried to recite a Jay-Z lyric about I've got 99 problems and a bitch ain't one. But in the whole process of doing it, he stumbled like on about 5 occasions. And it was the funny moment. Like,
he is hilarious. He is hilarious. But there was a couple of funny parts. When he said what was Karen said about bitches? No, what he said about he said Kanye West said about what is his line talking about bitches? I own no.
How many you know how many hot bitches I own?
Yeah, and then he goes, he's talking about cars, and he goes, but he's not shake. Kanye West doesn't shake cars in the video. He doesn't shake.
You have cars shaking the booty in the video.
Yeah.
That was a piece. Who said that?
And sorry, that chick as well that was talking about how Kanye West was glorifying like white girls. If to say that once you get into the mainstream and you get yourself a white girl with some kind of trophy and shit. Sorry, like, look, that's some. Sorry, man. There's too many females that are hung up on the shit of like they got to try and every point in the argument has to be a kind of like pro-female, pro-black female.
I think no, but the thing is as well. I think she chose one rapper and one line, and then tried to make a blanket statement on the whole of hip hop, saying as if every rapper says it's a trophy. You know, Jay-Z isn't with a white woman, so he would never have said that line. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think he can make that. But that's me.
Michael Eric Dyson.
Yeah, that Dyson guy, man, he's got words. Do you know who he should hook up with? Stephen Fry. If him and Stephen Fry can get something going together, where them two can just get on some banter, they're onto something. Because the way those guys speak here, flawless for me.
I liked him specifically because he wasn't. I didn't find that he was totally biased. He very much recognised the issues within hip hop and what it has been pushing of late. He wasn't totally saying, "Oh no, it's perfect. It's this, it's that." He to me, he got it, and for me, that's how you have to be. You can't see life as black and white either, and he saw it both ways. But I feel like he kind of represents my train of thought, whereas I will always love hip hop to the day that I die. But I do have my issues with it, and I will sit here and forever say that. But I will never, ever, ever, ever totally say I'm against hip hop. That will never happen. And I think he's on the same wavelength as me.
There's good, like one of the dudes said this in like 90% of a lot of things are just shit, and there's some fucking truth to that, man. As in like there's goods and bads you could take from pretty much more scenarios. Because for me, it's like all about perception and shit. For me, you have to kind of be the person that kind of navigates where your brain is thinking or where it's kind of going towards. So yeah, there's a lot of opinions being like thrown about. There's for and against, obviously. I mean, to be honest with you, it was a whole bundle of opinions and people's ideas on what they think hip hop really means in 2012, and even in the past, because some people brought up the past as well, and it was hard to kind of work out what everyone was really talking about or try and center the whole discussion. But the point is, what do you think? Is hip hop the great society in 2012? It's up to you, motherfuckers. I got my opinion. So have you. Let it be known, people. Peace.